Hello, hello. Can you hear me? This is Bryant. Give me a one if you can hear me okay, please. Okay, thanks, Dan. And can you see my screen? You should see Traffic Factory up there, a beta version. Yes, you can see my screen? Okay, super. Thanks, guys. Um, we'll get started in a few minutes. It's still a few minutes before our start time. So we'll just wait and see if anybody shows up. Patrick's supposed to be here. I'm going to go over to the Skype group and let everybody know that we're getting started. See if we can get a nice spirited Q&A going here this morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you might be. Okay. Usually takes people a few minutes to show up. Oh, so we'll see how we're doing. All right, Jerry, Jan, David, Dan, welcome everybody. Patrick usually shows up for these things. He said he'd be here, so we'll kind of hang out until he gets here. I know he's busy today, but he told me he'd be here a little while ago. I'm doing great, Jerry. Thank you very much. How are you guys? The chat box open. Anybody wants to ask a quick question? We'll be doing a Q&A after we go over the changes that we pushed out this week. So that we'll be doing, and then we'll be doing a Q&A as long as we want to go. So I'm not going to start the recording for a bit. Oh, it is being recorded. How about that? Automatically. So that's cool. The weather in Oregon? It's pretty cool. It's cloudy and overcast. It's about 50, couple degrees. It's supposed to start, hey Mike, it's supposed to rain pretty good this weekend, Friday, Saturday. But we haven't been getting the amount of rain we're used to around here, so you'll be welcome. Where's everybody else from? Oh, well, if you don't want to say, that's quite all right. Louisiana. Dan, I lived in Louisiana for years. I was there for Hurricane Katrina, living in Mandeville, across Lake Pontchartrain from New Orleans. Australia. Oh, but living in Barcelona. Okay. Alex. Hey, Brian, you're in Oregon too. You're in Forest Grove, huh? I used to live in Forest Grove outside of Portland, right? Maybe I'm thinking of West Slope up there. I lived on a little street called Cashmere Lane back in the 70s. 79, I moved from Portland back down to California. Okay, well, gonna wait a couple more minutes. see if Patrick shows up. Otherwise, we'll start without him. It's starting to come on in now. Jerry, Denver. Last time I went through Denver was spring 2 years ago. And it was a spring day. We got caught in a blizzard up heading into the Eisenhower Tunnel coming over the mountains. It was one of the scariest drives I ever made. I promised myself I'd never do it again. The Eisenhower Tunnel in a snowstorm, that is. I believe that's the highest elevation and the longest tunnel in the United States. Oh, you'll drive me. Okay, cool. You got a deal, Terry. Next time I'm in Denver, I'm going to call you up. Tempe. Brian, okay. So you live in Tempe. Oh, but you're up in Oregon helping a client out. I see. Nice. I spent some time in Arizona too. Back in the 80s. It was quite a bit quieter and smaller back then than it is now. Okay, well, I'm gonna wait a couple more minutes and see if Patrick shows up. And I'm sure he usually would like to say something. But a couple more minutes, we'll get started. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Patrick pops on. We'll see what he has to say. So I'm not going to be able to see the questions while I'm sharing my screen. So we will do Q&A as long as everybody wants to after we go over the updates that I want to talk about real quick. Oh, what you're seeing here is my beta. But everything you see here has been pushed or is being pushed right now to the production version. So the major changes that we made are the update for Dublin Core, and we'll go over that. Just briefly, I guess first of all, what I want to do is, pardon me, show. Well, I guess we need to run a little campaign here so we can take a look at that. 1 second, please. Sorry, I had some background noise I needed to shut up. So we're gonna run this campaign real quick. It's the RO Paid Rewards campaign, but we're going to run it out just so I can show you the Dublin Core schema and go over that a little bit. So we'll do a dummy uploader. Keep saying this, always run a dummy, verify everything to make sure that it is looking just exactly the way you want it to when it goes live. And there we go, it's nice and quick. So we'll just go to one of the content pages and take a look at the source so we can see our Dublin content. Let's see if I can make this bigger. That's smaller, bigger. There we go. Okay. If you look at Dublin Core, it's kind of a generic schema, which allows you to make broader definitions for your website and pages. Broader from the standpoint that it's not going to be as narrow, for example, as a type of local business, which also you can also use, of course, here in Traffic Factory. But we added Dublin Core because we wanted a more simplified and more generic method of adding schema to our Traffic Factory campaigns and projects, just to help with the indexing. And what we found is that Dublin Core, in case you don't know, was actually developed by Microsoft back in the day when they were first putting together their search engine, Bing and the Yahoo search engine. And they did it for the same reason all schema is done, and that is to provide a standardized method of defining what the documents or the website are all about, that they could easily read and not necessarily have to use computer algorithms to determine what the content of the website was all about, who the target, and so on and so forth. So if we look over here, and let's see, let's scoot this up a little bit. That way we can see both sides. In this case, for the title, we're using our token keyword phrase, which is our title tag here. And for site name, we're using a token shortcode as well in order to be able to embed that name. That in here in a couple of places, we've got it as our creator is our site name, publisher, and also it's part of the copyright, which you'll see down here. And you can see all of that expanded here as far as the copyright, site name, etc. And the subject, we've used just 1 second, let me get back up here. We've used our title keyword token again and added some additional keywords here separated by comma. Dublin Core schema will take up to 20 keywords. For the description, I've spun in the same content as is in my meta tag, minus the keyword token, because I've already got the keyword in here a couple of times. And then the publisher keyword contributor, I've used a different token per keyword. As you can see here, under contributor, there's a different keyword that, again, is still relevant to the words and so on and so forth. Date, text is the type, and internet browser is the format of the text. Here we have our identifier and source, and what I've done is I have, you can see here, I've used the bucket name token to define the bucket name portion of this URL. So what that does is it allows me to embed the source and the identifier, the two URLs, into the Dublin Core schema. And then the language, self-explanatory coverage, in this case worldwide. You can use, if you're doing geo-targeting, would include your location, that is your geo-targeting. here as well. You can tokenize that as you have seen from the other videos, I hope. If not, you will find how to use the geo tokens to target. Here what I've done is I have actually used a variation of the tags that we use for embedding videos in, this will just take a second to come up, in our content. And if we scoot up here, you'll see that there's a randomized selection of videos by token from one of our shortcode files. And what I've done in the schema is I have changed that to a view URL from an embed and use the same randomization to select the video. And as you can see here, it has selected one of the videos from my tokenized file. We also have added, along with the Dublin Core, since I was doing some research into Dublin Core itself and came across the fact that it was developed by Bing, so on and so forth, I decided that it was a good time to add Azure to our, we're not going to do an upload to Azure right now. I just want to show you real quick that it's pretty much the same, except your connection string is going to define the destination on Azure, your storage account, where this container will be. Containers and buckets are interchangeable terms from as far as Traffic Factory is concerned. So here you would use your what we use for a bucket name for S3. In this case, I would be using something. Actually, I would be using the same thing as I have up here. Best sports, home remedies, and treatments near me. 2019 would be used for my container name. Pop up there for me. Thank you very much. And then that would build and upload the project up to that Azure container or bucket. Another thing that we've done is with S3, the way S3 was developed, we required a unique or brand new domain name or bucket name every time you upload a bucket. With Azure, it defaults to an update of the container or bucket name. And what that means is that we're able to change the content of that bucket later. Now, why is that important? I'm going to show you real quick why I really like this particular new feature, and we've also changed the S3 so that they can be updated later as well. I'm going to go over that in a little bit of detail here because it is it's important. Okay, as you can see right now, this particular project is all the redirects are turned off. But if I turn it on, I've turned it on so that it only is going to redirect from the post pages or content pages. Okay, our tag pages, category pages, and index pages are not going to redirect in this instance. So I'll show you that. We'll run the campaign again with the redirect on. I'm going to have to clean out our, not that file, but our output file. And so delete that, clean it out. I gotta close this. And now we'll deploy it. Again, we're going to deploy to our dummy uploader so it doesn't go anywhere but here. And this will take just 1 second. Wait for it to finish. And here we go. Now, if I go to one of my content pages, it's going to redirect to the, in this case, the wart topper. So if I go to one of my content pages or my index pages, we're not going to redirect. Okay, we're not going to redirect from our tag pages either. Now, why would you want to do this? Well, this allows you to do something that I consider to be pretty tricky. Okay. This is normal. I'm sorry. The tag files don't resolve properly. There we go. From the index file, because of the way they're structured, they obviously they resolve properly once they're uploaded, either to a website, S3 or Azure. But the point I'm making here is that you can now build your projects and not redirect from any pages if you don't want to. Okay. So if we go here's the we just turn the redirect off and we build the page, build our site, and we leave it alone, let it get indexed and get maybe some traffic going through to it, and then you can come back later and turn on the redirects if you want to, or you can come back later and put a redirect in there, or you can come back later and you can replace the redirect if you're not using a link that you're able to control outside of Traffic Factory. This is a short link that I control. I can change this particular link to go to any wart offer that I want, or someplace else if I wanted to. But previously, if you didn't use a redirect link that you controlled, like these short links that I make for myself, then you were stuck with whatever URL you embedded in here. Now that you can update these projects, you can turn off and on the redirects. You can redirect to different pages or different destinations from each of the 4 categories as well. Or you can redirect everything back into your index page so that all traffic, no matter where it came from or where it landed, ended up on your index page if you wished. So this is how you would update private blog network sites to add links, as well as I discussed once earlier, being able to use iframes to update and add links to existing Traffic Factory campaigns as well. Upcoming, we have a couple of things in the works. We're adding video sitemaps to go along with our regular sitemaps. That's actually being worked on now. It should be ready this week. We are going to be adding some additional schema controls, which will allow you to stack schema. For example, you might have a local business schema, a product schema, and a website schema, all 3 of them on one page, okay? And have a different product schema for every page, for example. And also be able to stack the Dublin core and then other schema underneath it, and also be able to generate your own schema outside of Traffic Factory and bring it in and add it to your pages without having to make modifications to the template or anything like that. I just have it would be another area, another tab over here that would be custom schema. That would open up something similar to our extra content here, where you would just paste in the schema that you wanted added to the pages, and then select which categories of pages you would want it inserted into: post, categories, tags, index, or all, whichever you might prefer. So those are the 2 updates that are in process right now. XML video sitemaps will be the first thing to come, and then we'll be coming shortly thereafter with the updated schema controls. That's about it for the changes. So shall we have some questions? Let's see, we've got a few more people. Patrick has not come in yet. KWP raw text, what is in this file? It's simply a different set of keywords. I'll show it to you real quick. I have to kind of move things around here so I can see. You guys can see my screen, but I've got the questions box in there as well. Okay, how about that? I got that open twice. It's silly. Let's just go in here. Pop it right up. So our regular KWP file is this one, and then KWP raw, which is the one that you're asking the question about that I've included, is simply a different set of keywords. In this case, it's going to be some just some different batch of keywords, but they're all still going to be wart related. What's the easiest way to spin iframes? It depends on where you're going to put the iframe that you want to spin. For example, if you remember over here, I need to get this where I can see your questions now so I can see my page here. Over here, we spun inside the iframe code itself, we spun several different things, okay? So you can spin inside, for example, this random line equals YT videos.text is extracting one video ID out of this text file for each one. On the other hand, we've spun the different sizes of iframe here, okay? So that we vary, the dimensions of the video on the pages. So you can spin your iframes thusly, or you can spin them the same way that I've spun the two of them here, with multiple iframes separated by the OR bar. So we could add another iframe here, and then we would have three different iframes that were being chosen from as a complete spun iframe tag. This is blank right now because I only want videos on 2 out of 3 of the pages that we generate. So you can spin within the iframes if you're using that in the content, or you can spin the iframes themselves by using regular spin tags around your iframe statement. Okay, easiest way to spin iframes is there a link to access all the training for Traffic Factory? Yes, it's in the training doc. It has all the downloads and also links to all the videos as well. I'll post that in the Traffic Factory room as soon as we hop off here, unless somebody is able to do that now. You're welcome, Mike. Index page tags that didn't work on dummy uploads still not work in S3. No, they work fine once they're uploaded to the web. There is a actually, I'll show you. This might be a little technical for some people, but let me show you what I mean by that. So we'll bring up. Actually, we'll need to bring up the index file. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the source code and show you how these links are actually written out here. Okay, this link here, okay, is a link to the tag page. This is the one that didn't work, okay? you look over here, that's this link here that doesn't work. We get a 404. Now, the reason for that 404 is, and this is where it gets technical, see the 2 periods, period, slash 2. 2 is the, that's not it. I'll show you again really quick. 2 is the folder, okay, where this particular tag page exists. And these 2 dots say, tell the browser to go up 2 levels to get to 2. Okay, but in fact, it doesn't need to go up 2 levels, so it's ignored, and it goes directly to 2. Okay, this is done because on other pages, if we go to our category page, and we click this one to go to 2, then if we look at the structure, this link is going to be the same. Okay, it's going to be /2, but this actually is down 1 level in the hierarchy here. Okay, this is level 1, this is level 2. In fact, this is level 2, and this can be 2 or 3, depending on where it's coming from. So level 1, level 2, content, okay, level 3, the tag pages. Oops, forgot that we were redirecting on that one. Now, so the browser is being told, go up and look for this particular folder where this exists. On the index page, this is like taking it literally. It says I got to go up to find this, but it can't. There's no place up to go in the Windows structure. When this is online and a browser is working with the World Wide Web, then this is ignored, and it finds, it says, well, I only go up once, so just go there and look. It goes there and looks. Sorry if that's a little bit technical, but that's the reason for it not working here and working fine once it's uploaded to S3 or Azure or any other web-enabled host. When doing a geo campaign for one keyword, what would the categories be? Well, that's totally up to you, but if you were doing for one keyword, for instance, if you were doing for warts, there's several different kinds of warts. Even though the geo campaign would be for, say, Atlanta, you would have flat warts and genital warts and plantar warts and seed warts, for example. So that would be your campaign, your categories. But categories are completely flexible in the software, so they're completely up to you, Pete. Just think about tag pages. What determines how many folders and pages will be created? Okay. Basically, you're going to get a tag page for every content page. Okay. So if you have keywords, for example, in this particular, we don't need those logs. In this particular campaign, I was using KWP is the driving keyword, if you will, okay? And it has 1,100 keywords in this file. So it's going to build 2,200 pages. One content page, okay, that's currently redirecting, and one tag page for each content page. So basically you're doubling the number of total pages by specifying the tags. And as far as the number of folders that are generated, each folder will have 5,000 entries in it. So if you're generating 10,000 pages, you're going to have folder 1 and folder 2. If you're generating, wait a minute, is that correct? I've always thought that was true, but I think we have 2. Oh, we have 2. And this one we have, look down here, we got, so it puts 1,000 of them. So it's going to have, I guess number 2 is going to have like just a couple. It's got 98, so it makes 1,100, I guess, or close to it. So it puts 1,000. It puts 1,000 tag pages in each one of these folders as you build them. So that's how that number is. 5,000. Okay, that's the limit on the sitemaps. Excuse me. That's what it is. 5,000 URLs on each one of the sitemaps. If you do more than 5,000 pages, you get multiple sitemaps. You're welcome, Mike. Do a live upload to S3 and then go index tags. Go index tags. Oh, you want to see it work? Okay, that's fine. Let's see if I have this set up for if I have S3 keys in here or not. Let's see, let's delete some of this stuff or close it anyway. Not even sure what that was supposed to be. We're gonna have to clear this out. And close this, and close that. See if we got a, yay, we've got keys. Okay, well, let's see, we're going to go and look at it. So let's call this our webinar test. And we can go to Ohio, no problem. Uh-oh. Okay, well, I guess I can't use that one. Let's use 11, 13, 2019. That should make it unique. Okay, let's address something real quick. It wouldn't let me do that because I don't own that bucket. Okay, even though that bucket exists, somebody else owns it, so I couldn't update it. Probably a good thing. Okay, so we'll let this run. What determines how big your site is? This is the keywords. I'll address that. When you specify multiple keywords, or when you specify multiple tags for that matter, let's say, for example, I have 1,000 keywords and I have 50 locations, and I'm building web pages for 50 different cities, but I have 1,000 keywords. I'm going to build 1,000 pages. Okay, I'm going to build one per keyword. Now, if I had 100 keywords and 1,000 locations, I would build 1,000 pages for 1,000 locations. And those 100 keywords would be randomly used amongst those different locations. Same thing with if I have one location and 1,000 keywords, I'm going to get 1,000 pages for one location. If I have 1,000 keywords in 2 locations, I'm going to get 500 pages for each of the 2 locations. Okay, so it's not a multiplier. It's the larger of the 2 numbers that I'm using in my titles that determine the number of pages that get built. Yes, that's why I had 1 through 4 folders on a previous example, because there were 3,000 plus or more than 4,000 or more than 3,000 files. Okay, so I'll show off our keyword, our mouse keys working. Yay, hooray. I know this was something that everybody was hoping would work, and we did. We got it to work in one of these recent updates. So let's save all of these guys, and we'll go to our index file. What we'll do to get there, we will go to one of our tag pages. That's not going to redirect. Okay. Oh, there we go. Wow, that scared me. I thought it wasn't going to render properly. Can't have that. So we want to go to the index page and see that it works like I said it would. So we come back over here, and again we're on S3. Okay. We come down here to our well, we found a bug. Entry, bucket name 2. Ah, the bucket name's missing. Well. So that is a bug, and that will be addressed immediately when I get off the phone. Yeah, because what we need is so this looks fine. Okay. Is the bucket name public? Yes, the bucket name is public. Oh, sorry, I'm a little bit unsettled finding that bug. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. We'll get that corrected today. The bucket name is public. The permissions are set at the time that we define the bucket inside Traffic Factory before we do the upload. So, yes, I hope that answers your question, Pete. Let's see, is there anything else? Why the threshold of 999, not all in one file? It's an arbitrary decision when the software was built, I'm sure. Mike, they could, I guess, all be in one file, but they weren't. So do we have any more questions? Did that answer your question, Pete, about the bucket name being public? Thank you. Okay. Okay, do we have any more questions? Otherwise, I'm going to get this bug taken care of. No more questions? Okay. Last call. And I'm going to say goodbye. So, hey, you're welcome. And hey, we find bugs. Bugs happen. And we'll talk to you all later. Thank you very much for coming today. Appreciate it.